Part 1. A death in the land of the 2-minute clock. Strike spotted her. Baby fat. Baby face. Chanel or Chanette. 14 years old maybe. Standing there with that queasy smile trying to work up the nerve. He looked away seeing her 2 months from now. No more baby fat Stinky. Just another pipehead. Her undisguised hunger turned his stomach. But it was a bad day on his stomach all around, starting with the dream about his mother last night. With her standing in the window, looking at him, pulling the shades up and down, trying to signal him about something. Then onto this morning, being made to wait for an hour in the municipal building before anyone bothered to tell him his probation officer was out sick. Then Peanut this afternoon not respecting 2 for 1 hour, and now, right here, some skinny white motherfucker coming onto the Word, trying to buy bottles. The Word looking to Strike like, "What do I do?" Strike turned away, thinking, you own. I told you that. His stomach glowing like a coal, making him want to go into a crouch to ease the burn. Strike was seated on the top slat of his bench, his customary perch, looming over a cluster of screaming kids, pregnant women, and too many girls, drinking vanilla yoo-hoo to calm his gut, watching the Word try to think on his feet. The white guy, a scrawny redhead wearing plaster cake dungarees and a black anthrax t-shirt, looked too twitchy and scared to be a Naco, but you never knew. Nacos making street buys usually came in colors, or at least Italian, trying to be Puerto Rican, but not Curries Woods white, and they usually acted cool or sneaky, not jumpy. The guy was probably a customer for real, but it was the Words called on the job training. The guy took out a 20 for 2 bottles. Strike watched the Word thinking, finally saying, "Go change it for singles." Strike shook his head. Mark bill. Jesus, they ain't gonna go to the trouble of using market bills to make a case on a 2-bottle buy from a 15-year-old boy. A kid getting busted for that would probably get revolved at juvenile and be back at the benches before the dinner hour lull was over, right on time for the heavy night traffic when he was really needed. The white guy nodded and loped away, looking for a mini mart, the $20 bill sticking up out of his fist like a flower. Nobody would take him off with Strike here on the bench, rolling the yoo-hoo bottle between his palms, but Strike knew that if he was to go take a leak, the guy would be lying in the grass with a crease in his hat. Rodney had said it. Most niggas out here want all the money now. They kill the golden goose, the return customer, because they never see past the next 2 minutes. A bunch of sneaker dealers get $10, run out and buy a $10 ring, like Peanut earlier in the day, trying to make a little extra selling bottles 1 for 10 instead of 2 for 10 during happy hour. On each clip, he had been pulling in 100 instead of 50, then turning over 40 and pocketing 60, until some pipehead came up to Strike and said, "I thought it'd be happy hour." Strike looked at Peanut now, sulking on the corner, demoted to raising up looking out for the fury of flat $20 gig, no bottles, no commission. Watching Peanut probe the raw bump on his cheekbone, Strike swung into his usual recitation. Sneaker dealers, pipeheads, juveniles, stick-up artists, girls, the fury. You can't trust nobody, so keep your back to the wall and your eyes open, 24/7, 365. Strike scanned the canyon walls of the Roosevelt houses. There were 13 high-rises, 1,200 families over 2 square blocks, and the housing office gave the Fury access to any vacant apartment for surveillance, so Strike never knew when or where they might be scoping them out. The best he could do was to get somebody to spot them, sneaking into a building from the rear, yell out 5-0 so nobody did anything stupid, and then just wait for them to get bored and leave. The Fury consisted of only a handful of cops, and they had half a dozen housing projects to cover, so they couldn't hole up for more than an hour. But it was no secret that Andre the Giant had a surveillance apartment too. 3A in 14, Dumont. The apartment housing couldn't rent out because 6 children and their grandmother had died in a fire there a year before. Andre was obsessed with the dope crew that worked the Dumont side of the projects, unlike the Fury, who liked hitting the Weehawken side, Strike's side. But Andre was a free-range knucko. He could show up anywhere, anytime, and he could see the benches just fine from Dumont. Strike's clockers got jumpy if they thought they were being watched. They'd start singing too loud, get into idiotic arguments, let go of the pent-up tension in 100 dumb ways, becoming a danger both to themselves and to Strike. And then there were the girlfriends to worry about. They were the worst, flirting with other guys in front of their boyfriends, gassing up their heads, starting fights. To Strike, the girls were good for one thing only. The Fury were all male, so if a girl kept her mouth shut, acted like a lady, she could carry 2 clips down in her panties, another 2 up top, and the Fury couldn't do anything unless they pulled her into the precinct for a strip search. And it was a lot quicker to serve up bottles out of a bra than to have everybody running in and out of the stash apartment for every $10 sale. But girls could steal too. Just disappear around a corner with the product. They could have a lover's quarrel, give the dope to a new boyfriend, not in the crew, sell it themselves, smoke it themselves. So Strike wasn't up on using girlfriends. He'd rather go slow and steady, get the boys to make the trip up to the apartment, at least for the Fury hours, 4 to 10. He moved the apartment around every day. Knockos can't go through a door without having paper, and by the time they got the paper signed by a judge, the apartment wasn't there anymore. Girls. Strike always told his crew, don't let the girls wrap you around their little fingers, it's just pussy. And if you play your cards right, pussy always be there, and you play your cards right by making the money, then saving it. Strike would say it word for word, just like Rodney said it to him almost a year ago. Strike watched the baby fat girl Charette, something like that, finally get up for it, walk over to him, a smile pasted on her face like she was happy or something.